Listen up now. 9 pizzas were just served to us by my eager mother. Ooh, yum. Hello, if you were in elementary school before 2006, there's a decent chance you had to memorize something. Something like that statement. The order of the alphabet was taught to kids using this mnemonic strategy. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are the planets of our solar system, plus Pluto. If you're a student in elementary school right now, was it right? There were 9 planets, you could be asking. Prior to returning to Fortnite Go, or whatever the youngsters these days are into. What transpired to Pluto, then? It's not as if it has disappeared. Hello and welcome to KYC News. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. As chilly and desolate as it still is out there on the frontier of the solar system the same distance away, therefore what changed? Pluto hasn't, but our knowledge of it has. Compared to a century ago, we now have a much better understanding of space. Pluto was by itself. It's not like the planet lineup hasn't been altered before. They were just found in 1930. However, it remains true that there is something essentially weird about a planet is downgraded. Who even realized something like that could occur? How do you feel? Pluto should be a planet, but is that where it belongs? Give it to me, comments section viewpoint. Things might become a little more evident after we identify the meaning of the word planet. The precise meaning has significantly evolved over time. However, from Galileo's time until the 19th century, it referred to any orbiting object. The Sun. Although a little ambiguous now, this was effective up until 1801. In that year, astronomers found Ceres, a planet orbiting in gigantic air quotes the Sun's midpoint between Jupiter and Mars. You might be able to place the asteroid here. Belt isn't because Ceres pulled an Alderan and shattered into a million pieces. If it had, I have no doubt that students would concentrate far better in science class. However, Ceres was quickly discovered to be relatively small, with just half the size of the moon's radius on Earth. After Ceres was discovered, astronomy, the discovery of Pallas, a new planet, caused a flurry of activity in the neighborhood. So they discovered a few years later, another. Then another and /another. And I believe you can see how this was going. One item are the 4 new planets. Actually, there are 4, but you get the point. It might be thousands when it multiplies. It's time to review a few definitions. Astronomers discovered that the rocks shared more characteristics, more so than any other planet with one another. They were little, sterile, and the most weren't even spherical in shape. The term asteroid was applied to these tiny objects. The world resumed learning about the 7 planets, including Mercury, Venus, and the asteroid belt Uranus, or Uranus, whatever, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. In 1846, Neptune created 8. Pluto joined the celebration 84 years later. In retrospect, it may be simple to predict that Pluto would travel through the same route as its long-lost relative Ceres. However, we all know that hindsight is 20/20. Moreover, there are aspects of Pluto that we now understand that weren't readily apparent in the early 20th century. For instance, even though we are aware that Pluto is nothing more than a small ice ball, initially estimated to be the size of Uranus or Neptune, the rock. The year following its discovery, Pluto's size was reduced to that of the Earth. In 1948 saw another reduction. It would continue to get smaller until astronomers were finally able to 2006, a precise measurement. We are aware that Pluto is only 1/4 of a planet's size. Earth is only approximately twice as big as the former planet and smaller than the Moon. Ceres. Long ago, Pluto's planet status was in jeopardy. Nonetheless, prior to that, Pluto's moon Charon was discovered by scientists in 1978. First of all, this could appear to be compelling evidence in favor of Pluto. If it is substantial enough for a satellite, surely a planet, then. Not quite. Possibly a smaller planet than Pluto, but not significantly less so. It could appear that a difference of half the diameter is significant, but compared to the size variations between the moons of other planets. In reality, because of their equal mass, Charon can significantly alter Pluto's orbit, the Sun making it sway back and forth as it moves through space. That action is incredibly out of character for a planet, and it prompted some scientists to feel awkward referring to Pluto in that manner. And their discomfort increased whenever a brand new Pluto-like object was found outside of Neptune's orbit. Even still, not everyone was prepared because Pluto had been on the list for decades, willing to throw it out. That all changed after Eris was found in 2005. While despite being somewhat smaller than Pluto, Eris was initially thought to be slightly more massive. This was yet another blow to Pluto's claim to be a planet, and in 2006 the Astronomical Union determined that it was time to update their definition of it as a planet, but not. An object was then merely a planet if it meets the three criteria listed below. It needs to orbit the Sun first. A second is that the thing has to be a sphere, or almost a sphere. Pluto satisfies the first two criteria. However, number 3, which states that a planet must have cleared the neighborhood, causes problems close to it. Its neighborhood being cleared indicates that there, aside than its own satellites, there are no neighboring objects. Pluto has not succeeded in achieving that goal, therefore, the third box is not checked. In baseball, one strike could be acceptable, but if you want to continue being on Club Planet's exclusive list, it's a deal breaker. Now, not everyone was happy to learn that Pluto was expelled. It's difficult to not feel bad for the little guy, and several experts still today disagree with the IAU's decision and desire to designate Pluto as a planet once more. They suggest eliminating the first and third qualifiers. Any item fits this definition. Having sufficient mass to keep it spherical, or almost spherical, would be considered a globe. This would allow Pluto to re-enter, but it would also allow our moon to enter, as well as a number of Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune's moons. Not even mentioning Ceres, a large number of asteroids and other objects, including Charon. In its entirety, this new definition would increase the number of planets from a tolerable 8 to a cumbersome 115. Consider the mnemonic apparatus you would require for that. The definition as it stands right now is far from ideal. It excludes, as some astronomers have noted, planets that aren't orbiting any stars. Some believe it also places an undue emphasis on, rather than the planets themselves, what is visible from the prospective planet. Mercury would never be seen from the distance of Jupiter. According to Ethan Siegel of Medium.com, it wouldn't enter its orbit and cease to be a planet. A planet that is significantly smaller than Mercury, even Earth, would not qualify as a planet since it is too close to a red dwarf star to be a planet, if it were anywhere outside the Oort cloud. However, what should you do about stars like the red dwarf star Proxima Centauri, which orbits the larger and brighter Alpha A and B for Centauri? It's a planet, right? The conditions are entirely met, despite the fact that it is without a doubt a star. Is it possible to simultaneously be a planet and a star? According to conventional wisdom, however, this is the issue you have when attempting to define terms like planet. All of this may suggest that it's time to reevaluate how we do things. Explain planets. However, multiplying the amount by 14 doesn't seem like a good idea. Like a fantastic answer. Sadly, Pluto, by whatever definition science ultimately decides, likely won't be included. Oh, And we left out the discussion of Pluto. Was given that Disney dog's name. Oh, you mean you wasn't? Shucks. Forget it. Hey, if you discovered something new today, please like and share the video. Friend, here are some more fun videos that I hope you'll like. Click merely to the left or right, and always look on the positive side of things.